When I first decided to start doing gun reviews and not just competitive shooting stuff on this channel, one of the first guns I reviewed was the IWI Masada because it was a polymer frame striker pistol that was optics ready, only optics ready, for about $400. I did and still do think it was a great gun. Fast forward to now, and IWI has skinnied up their offering with the Masada Slim, or Masada S as you may find it, a 13-round concealed carry gun. Are you ready? Stand by. Welcome back to the Humble Marksman channel, the only gun channel here on YouTube dripping with that BDE. That's right, Big Dad Energy. If you used to enjoy cooking spicy food at home, then had to stop because you had kids, and then now when you revisit dishes that you used to enjoy, find them to be too hot, then go ahead and hit that like button. I'm David, and this is the IWI Masada S, or Masada Slim. The Masada Slim is roughly the same size as a P365 XL. They are very dimensionally similar. And just taking the Hellcat RDP that I have, you can see that the grip's a bit shorter and the muzzle's a bit shorter. Just ignore the compensator. A traditional P365 or Hellcat is going to be shorter in the muzzle and shorter in the grip than the Masada Slim. So we'll talk about the gun in hand, talk about it from a shootability perspective, and then get you out of here. So in the hand, the Masada Slim is quite nice. The one little gripe that I have about the frame is that kind of the rear edge of the frame itself is kind of boxy, so it kind of hits you in the hand a little bit, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to stabilize. Talk about that more on the range. The ergonomics are quite good. The polymer that they use in the frame is kind of slick, but they put a decent texturing, kind of a medium fissure texture on it back here on the grip panel, so that everywhere your fingers land on the gun, you have good purchase. The one thing is that this is definitely a hand-on-hand style gun, meaning that my support hand does not make contact with the frame in a meaningful way to, help fight recoil. There's only one gun in this segment that actually allows my support hand to make contact, and that's the macro, and it's the biggest one in the segment. So no points lost as far as I'm concerned on that front. The slide finish is nice. The slide cuts are very, very usable. The optic cut is actually quite good. It is cut for an RMSC optic. I've got a 407K mounted on it from HoloSun, and it fits basically perfectly. It was a very slight amount of play fitting the optic on there, which is an external modification. YouTube, optical sights are cool by your rules. But the slide design is fairly simple. There's not anything kind of crazy going on with it. It has high quality finish, high quality materials. The sights actually do co-witness through this. Now the sights are kind of weird because the front sight is a white dot. The rear sight has these two little recesses in the middle of it. They're basically pilot holes that I suspect are used for some night sights that somebody else is selling, but the sights are actually quite good. It has a U-notch rear similar to the Hellcat. The trigger is very nice. It breaks all the way at the rear of the stroke, and there is almost no over travel once it goes. One thing that I did notice is that the dongle on the trigger safety sticks out quite a lot, and if I intentionally try to do it, which means I put my finger on it and push it to the side, then try to pull it to the rear, I can bind the trigger up a little bit. This was not a problem when actually getting out on the range. I don't think it's going to be a design issue, but somebody's going to try and make a name for themselves pointing it out on the internet. So there you go. The trigger pull is quite nice. It has a straight blade safety that breaks at about 90 degrees. Depending on where your finger lands on the trigger is going to affect how the pull weight is. Pulling from the center of the shoe, I was getting about 5.5 pounds. Pulling from just the tip, I'm getting about 4.5 pounds. So in the hand, it feels more like a 4 to 5 pound trigger and less like a 5 to 6 pound trigger, but your mileage may vary. Just like its big brother, I quite like how the trigger is set up. The mag catch button is out of the way of your fingers, so you're at no real risk of it getting in the way. The only quirk about the gun is how it comes apart. Now, they have a little button on the side of the gun right there that you can slide forward, and it exposes a pin that you can hook with a screwdriver and pull out. That's how you take the gun apart. It's not like a turning lever or anything like that. So there are other pistols in the segment that do that. It's just kind of a unique design that not many people are using. On the range, the Masada performed exactly like you'd expect a pistol in this segment to perform. It's a little bit snappy, but you can get hits with it if you manage the trigger well. It took me a minute to figure out how to grip the gun with my strong hand in order to manage a straight to the rear trigger pull. I was pulling shots low. It's kind of a blocky frame, but it's very narrow, so it doesn't kind of stand out as being blocky. But once I realized kind of how it was blocky, I basically had to strangle the thing in order to stabilize it in my hand and get point of aim, point of impact shots. Similar to the big brother, the iron sights have a combat hold, meaning that basically basically the dot on the front sight is where the impact shows up on the target. I can confirm that that's where it is because when I mounted the dot and got it zeroed, the dot basically is right on the dot on the front sight of the sight. So when I look at the gun, the red dot is basically right over the large white front sight. Shooting the gun does take it more out of your forearms because holding onto the thing, I mean, they're just flippy little things. All the guns in this segment are that way. It just kind of is what it is when you get to a gun that's this small and light. But all in all, I think that the Masada Slim is a worthy entrance into this market. It comes in at about $400, $400 to $429 is what I'm seeing it right now listed for. And at that price point, I think there's a lot of features on this gun. It competes very favorably to the Hellcat. I like the ergos on the P365 grip module a little bit better, but even still, this kind of keeps up with that as well. So the only concern with that is, will you be able to find holsters and more magazines for it? There are holsters being made for the Masada Slim, so you can find the support you need to carry the gun, but again, it's going to be kind of one of those niche guns, kind of like its bigger brother. It's great for the people who discover it and like enjoy shooting the things, but it doesn't get talked about. To me, this gun occupies the space that I wish Ruger occupied in this segment. I don't think the Max 9 is as good as this gun. So that is the IWI Masada Slim. Sound off in the comments if you've got one. Let other people know what your experience has been like with them so far. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.